Well, thanks so much for joining us on our Marks for Sports campaign, which is looking closer and closer to reality. A reality where students will get marks for sports just like they do for math and science. Our nationwide petition day has been an overwhelming success, thanks to lakhs of your petitions from all across the country. And the chief ministers have taken notice and promised to implement our Marks for Sports policy. So we tell you all about this campaign, and we have some special guests in studio as well. One of my favorites, one of the glamorous faces of Indian sport, Tanya Sachdev, just one of 8 chess grandmasters amongst women in India. We have Mr. Kumar, the vice principal of Hindu University, in the news a little bit for having some problems with their sports quota. And also from Bangalore, we'll be joined by Saumil Majmudar, the CEO of EduSports. All that in just a moment, but first a look at how the sports minister, Mr. Ajay Markan, has provided a huge fillip to our Marks for Sports campaign.
The annual sports ministers meet of all states and union territories in Delhi. And NDTV had pride of place after being invited to make a presentation on its Nirmal Lifestyle Marks for Sports campaign.
The Fit India Day, it will be called Come and Play on that day, and children across the country will be urged to be on a sporting field. We hope that this will be ongoing permanently on the calendar of the country.
The Union Sports Minister, who has wholeheartedly backed our campaign, went a step further by adopting a resolution to make sports a part of the school curriculum.
I hope at least in those states where the sports ministers are education ministers, straight away as soon as they go back, they'll take it up. And here at the centre, I'll take it up with Mr. Kapil Sibal.
Our campaign had another success story, with the Maharashtra government saying it will not abandon its Marks for Sports policy. They were the first state to implement this in 2005, but were having a rethink because of implementation problems.
मैं ये वचन देता हूँ स्पोर्ट्स मिनिस्टर महाराष्ट्र के नाते कि ये मार्क्स जो है 25 मार्क्स फॉर स्कूली स्पोर्ट्स स्टूडेंट को देते हैं, जरूर देते ही रहेंगे, स्कीम्स कंटिन्यू रहेंगी.
Clearly, the NDTV Nirmal Lifestyle campaign is on a roll. So log on to our website to submit your petitions.
Right, so as we said, just the fillip that this campaign needs, with the sports ministers of all the states pledging to make this a reality. Let's go across live to our guests. Mr. Saumil Majmudar from Bangalore, sir. We're in the business of making marks for sports happen, but you're in the business of making sports happen in schools. Isn't that right?
Yes, that's right. We're now working with 160 odd schools and the more magical number of 1.3 lakh kids across the country, helping them get healthier and fitter through a structured sports program, and actually offering marks for sports, as you call it.
Right, Saumil, and who better than an IITian to do that? Back with you in just a moment. Tanya, I'd like to ask you, were you happy with balancing the sports and studies that you've had to do all through your school and college life?
It was really hard, but I think because of the support that I had from my school and because of this format of Marks for Sports, I think it was because of that I was able to achieve what I did and, you know, completely focus on my game. Otherwise, I doubt I would have been able to balance it out.
And Hindu College did give you a spot, even though you didn't go there.
Yes, at that time, yes.
Right, Mr. Kumar, I'd just like to ask you, I mean, media reports seeming to suggest that Hindu College was against sports quota in some sense, and you actually suspended it this year and then took the sports quota students, what, 3 months later from when the session started?
No, we never thought of scrapping it. We only thought of suspending it only for a year, and the reason was that our ground, the sports ground, was taken over by the Commonwealth authorities, and it was not restored. So there are no facilities available. So Hindu College has always encouraged sports person, and we have a glorious tradition and history of promoting sports. But it was only for a year because still we lack the facilities. So that was only a temporary thing.
Nothing against the sports.
Nothing against the sports. In fact, we have promoted sports at all levels. We have produced sports person of eminence and repute.
Yeah, like the likes of Gautam Gambhir, and of course offered a place to Tanya as well, but she didn't take it. Tanya, back with you in a moment. But first, let's just hear from some other aspiring athletes on how they battled through this dilemma of studies or sports.
Hi, my name is Vani Kapoor. I'm 17 years old. I'm currently ranked #1 in India. I also played the Asian Games last year. I think if you get marks for sports, it'll be really good.
Now I'm doing open schooling, which is a big lifesaver because I can do studies on my own terms and conditions now. And had there been this marks for sports when I was in school, maybe I didn't have to leave school.
I play golf and we have to travel a lot. We're hardly in Delhi and we don't attend classes. so it's really tough to cope with our studies. So if our school would help us and give us marks according to how well we're doing in our sport, it would really help us.
When we miss classes and we miss tests to go for tournaments or training, and then we come back to the school and the school has no regard for that. I mean, we're working hard too, right?
Hi, I'm Prithvi, I'm 19, I'm studying in SRCC. Even though I got a 55% in my boards, I made it through football on sports quota.
Right, some interesting stories over there of the battles that all students have to face as they try to pursue a career in sports. Saumil, just want to ask you, I will ask you about your survey a little later as well, which is of course a disturbing trend, but what do you see when you go and approach schools with a plan to introduce sports and physical education over there? What's the attitude you get?
Sure, I think across the last 3 years, we found on an overall basis, school leaders are willing and most educationists admit and accept that sports is a part of education. I think where some of those leaders are struggling is the next step of how do you actually do it. And to some extent, the Marks for Sports campaign in that sense is a very interesting articulation of that issue, that if you have marks, two things happen. One, you accept that it's a part of education. It's not only for performance sports, it's also for all the remaining 99% of kids who are also playing. Maybe they're never playing for India or the state or so on, but it's still a part of their education. The second thing that happens is with marks, the moment you have to give marks, it assumes a curriculum. It assumes what are you teaching. You can only give marks against something that you are teaching. That structured curriculum that has to be part of the school's timetable, it assumes assessment frameworks, it assumes trained teachers, assumes parents being involved into the entire education process. That's one other part that comes in. The third part is with marks, as against performance sport, you are able to have a very democratic measure. In our case, for example, we don't look at winning a medal as the marks, if you will, of sports. The right measure is fitness and skills. Are we giving our children the right fitness and the right skills at the right age so that they enjoy the game?
I'll be back with you to talk about that interesting survey that you've done. But first, how we spoke to Vijinder Singh, who of course has been a vociferous supporter of our campaign of Marks for Sports. But I wanted to ask him whether he would have chosen studies at some point over boxing.
मैं आई थिंक बॉक्सर ही होता, बिकॉज मेरा पढ़ाई में ना दिमाग चलता नहीं था, क्योंकि मेरे को नींद आने लग जाती थी बहुत ज़्यादा क्लास में पीछे. लेकिन मैं वो तो टीचर मेरे बहुत अच्छे थे कि वो हमेशा मेरे को कहते थे चल बेटा तू खेल ले, स्पोर्ट्स कर ले, तेरे लिए अच्छा है. और आई थिंक उनकी वजह से मैं यहाँ तक पहुँच गया हूँ अभी. और अच्छा है, उस टाइम पे अगर ये मार्क फॉर स्पोर्ट्स होता तो मेरे लिए और भी आसानी होती, बिकॉज मैं हर एक बार टॉप करके आता, बिकॉज स्पोर्ट्स में मेरे मार्क्स बहुत ज़्यादा होते.
बिल्कुल, आप जरूर टॉप करते अगर बॉक्सिंग के मार्क्स लिए जाते. पर विजिंदर, डिसअपॉइंटिंग फर्स्ट राउंड एग्जिट आपका रहा अभी वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप्स में. ऑब्वियसली आप हमें एक और गिफ्ट देंगे जो कि लंदन ओलंपिक्स में आएगा अगले साल, पर अभी तक आपने क्वालिफाई नहीं करा है उसके लिए.
जी चिंता मत कीजिए मैम, कहते हैं कि हार कर जीतने वालों को ही बाजीगर कहते हैं. तो अभी पिक्चर बाकी है. अभी राइट नाउ वी हैव वन मोर क्वालिफायर, और जो कि मार्च में है. और 2008 में भी सबसे लास्ट में क्वालिफाई मेरा ही हुआ था, और 2004 में जो कि एथेंस ओलंपिक थे उसमें भी सबसे लास्ट टाइम मेरा ही था. तो इट्स ओके, इट्स पार्ट ऑफ स्पोर्ट्स जी, चलते रहते हैं. कई बार मिल जाता, कई बार नहीं मिलता. तो अब की बार दोबारा कोशिश करूंगा, और चिंता मत कीजिए. सोना वैसे ही बहुत महंगा और रखा, तो कोशिश करूंगा कि बहुत सारा लेके आऊँ.
हाँ जरूर, सोने की तो प्राइसेस बिल्कुल बढ़ रही हैं. पर एक लाइन में विजिंदर हमें बताइए, स्पोर्ट्स बिल को आप कैसे सपोर्ट करना चाहेंगे?
जी मैं विजिंदर सिंह, मैं स्पोर्ट्स बिल को पूरे दिल से सपोर्ट करता हूं.
बिल्कुल, और स्पोर्ट्स मिनिस्टर जो हैं आपकी बात सुनकर के बहुत ही खुश हो जाएंगे. विजिंदर, थैंक यू सो मच. Tanya, it doesn't matter for somebody like Vijinder, he doesn't need to have gone to a college, right? Because he can articulate himself well enough.
You know, honestly, I think, you know, in India, it's sports for a lot of right now, a lot of different sports, financially it's not a viable career option right now. So you need to leave your options open and to encourage people at a young age that yes, you do have this backing from us. So it's very important that they're able to try it out then, they're able to focus there. So it does help in that way, but yes, of course, he is a different league.
Absolutely, and I like the way he said he's a bazigar, but we'll take a short little break on the show, lots more to come up. But first, let's hear from our campaign ambassador, who is a real rock star.
I pledge to support the NDTV Nirmal Lifestyle Mark for Sports campaign. Well, hi all you little ones and big ones. I'm there to support this Mark for Sports, and it's going to be a fun time. It's not something serious and you guys don't have to go, oh God. I think it's going to be fun. There are going to be sports which are going to be introduced as subjects, and you guys will get marks for it. I hope you guys are happy with this, and don't worry, it's going to happen, and it's going to happen really soon.
Welcome back. Khel Ratna awardee Gagan Naran said at our launch press conference for Marks for Sports that all students in India grow up being told, Padhoge, likhoge, banoge nawab, kheloge, kudoge, banoge kharab. Well, we sure hope our campaign over the last 6 months has changed things.
I like cricket. I like badminton. I love all sports.
The petitions that you have signed, I'm going to hand these over to NDTV, and I, as the principal of your college, support Marks for Sport.
So, the Marks for Sports campaign, launched earlier this year, is on a roll. We want to make sure that Gen Next of our sports people don't have to fight to follow their sporting dreams.
I got called for my under-16 India camp for the first time, and I had my ICSE exams, and I decided to drop my ICSE exams.
The policymakers have taken notice of your pledges, and a nationwide movement is on the cards.
I would also compliment your channel for starting this Marks for Sports campaign.
Whatever support Goa government can give you, we will support your campaign.
To take this endeavor a step further, we are traveling to 14 cities. Your signatures will be presented to government representatives to make Marks for Sports a nationwide policy.
So lots of progress in the last 6 months, but there is somebody who's done a survey which has got slightly disturbing trends. Saumil Majmudar, CEO of EduSports. Can you tell us about your survey? Over 20,000 students in about 30 cities, I believe.
That's right, 39 cities, 73 schools. And the concerning part is more than 61% of the children do not have the right skills to engage in physical activity and sports. 43% do not have the right fitness if you use a very base level of BMI as a measure. And there are more details, but essentially if kids don't have the right fitness and skills, they're not playing enough. Forget about playing for the country. They're not playing enough to engage in health and fitness related activities.
Right, that is sounding very alarming indeed, and of course no desire to take part in sports brings me to you, Tanya. Do we need marks for sports, or do we need a mindset for sports, a better culture?
I think Marks for Sports is part of the bigger picture for the mindset for sports. It's definitely very important, but that's a very collective movement that involves not just the educational institutes, but your parents, the government, because then all sports have to be made a viable career option. And for that, you need a lot of financial support. It shouldn't be looked as like a supplement to your education, but like an alternative way of life, then sports has to be looked at. So that, I think, requires support from everywhere and not just, but yes, that is the big picture and that's the dream.
Right. For you personally, Mr. Kumar, if Tanya was your daughter, would you have spent a lot of time telling her ki beta chess chhod do, doctor ban jao, engineer ban jao?
Definitely not, because our mindset should be that we should give the option to the students and our children to excel in whatever they want.
Right.
So our motto even at the Delhi University is that students should listen to the inner voice.
Right.
They should follow their heart.
But sir, I want to ask you very quickly, sports quota in Delhi University, is it working well? Because from my experience, which is now certainly a few years old, students always felt very tense that sports quota mein admission hoga ki nahi. Will you get the course you want? Will you get the college you want? What do you think could be done to improve it further, the system?
See, let me tell you that we have a very transparent system at University of Delhi. At the time of the admission, 75% marks are on the basis of certificates and 25% marks are awarded on the basis of the field trials. And international and the national students, they are given direct admissions. And then we have a criteria for the different level of competition. We award marks according to the competition in which the students have participated, like for the zonal level, for the interzonal level, for the national level. And then they are also allowed to appear in the field trials.
Right.
So a combination of the two will determine the admission.
Right.
And there can be a lot of things we can do to improve, like trials could be held centrally, like they were held last year.
Right.
And the various director of physical education from different colleges could be involved in the selection procedure.
Right.
So we also have a system of appointing the experts. We call the experts for judging the students on the basis of the field trials.
Right. Tanya, one last question for you. What's the attitude that you see for sports around? Are there still people who come to you, as Vishy Anand had once told us the story that, you know, it's okay you play chess, but how do you make a living?
You know, I think things have definitely improved a lot over the last 10 years because people have realized there are different sports and there's so much more talent going around in India. People are representing their country, bringing so much fame to it, and people are recognizing the kind of hard work they're putting to it. But there's still a very long way to go in it. But yes, these kind of petitions that you have, these kind of movements that you have are definitely helping all sports persons. It's a long way to go, but I think we started somewhere.
Right, Tanya, Mr. Kumar, thank you so much for joining us today. And of course, thanks to your voices, we will have more legs for this campaign. And Saumil Majmudar in Bangalore as well. Continue the really good work in the schools that you are doing. But for the moment, we also did speak earlier in the day to Rahul Bose and asked him how much Marks for Sports will help promote a sports culture in India.
If I was to talk about myself, sport taught me concentration. Sport taught me discipline. Sport taught me how to work hard, and sport taught me not to complain when you lose, but to get up and do better the next time. All of these attributes help when you're studying for a grueling exam. All of these attributes help when you're sitting in front of 5 people for an interview. All of these attributes help when you're tired on your 4th day of shooting without sleeping. So, you know, the entire ethos of sport is geared to make children do well in life, and I think India has to recognize that, which is why this is a campaign that I put my heart, my soul and my muscle fiber behind.
Well, that's it for the show. Thank you so much for your overwhelming support, and please keep those pledges coming in. Like we've said, you can log on to ndtv.com/marksforsports to join in on our campaign to make Marks for Sports a reality in India. Thanks so much for being with us.
Sports should be marked at the highest level in every education system around the world. It should not be just that, 20 marks out of 100. I think there should be 80 marks out of 100.
I think it's a great idea. If that was happening when I was studying in school, I would have been the topper.
If you have, say, 1 hour of history and 1 hour of geography and 1 hour of physics, then there should be a 1 hour of sport.
Studying all the time can get to you at some point of time. So it's all about, balancing in between sport and studies.
There'll be a time where a parent is pushing his kids, okay, stop studying, close your books and just go out and play sport because you're getting marks for sports.
Sports is something that inculcates character and something we took for granted.
Just like maths, English and geography, I think sports should be given marks as well.